Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya wal-Mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma arna al-haqqa haqqa wa razaqna tiba'ah wa arna al-batil batilan wa azna shanab. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. We shall be continuing with a Tafseer of Surah Al-Ankabut, the spider. Allah Ta'ala said in Ayah 38, the people of Ad and Thamud, and indeed their destruction is clearly apparent to you from their ruined dwellings. Shaitan made their deeds fair seeming to them and turned them away from the right path, though they were intelligent. In spite of their intelligence, they allowed the shaitan to lead them astray. So this is exactly like the Europeans. The Europeans have good infrastructure, good roads and good water supply and good electric and good network. We are explaining Ayah 38. Allah Ta'ala said, and the people of Ad and the people of destruction clearly apparent to you from their ruined dwellings. The Satan made their deeds fair seeming to them and turned them away from the right path, though they were intelligent. So Allah Ta'ala said, وَكَانُوا مُسْتَبْصِرِينَ. وَكَانُوا مُسْتَبْصِرِينَ. They were intelligent. The word mustabsirin means they were enlightened. Their aql was shrewd. They were intelligent people. And in spite of that, they allowed the shaitan to lead them astray from the Sirat al-Mustaqim. So many of you will ask yourself the question, how can a man be intelligent and he worships idols? I've seen many Hindu doctors. They are at the peak of their career. These Hindu doctors, they can perform brain surgery, heart surgery, you name it, the most complicated surgery. Excellent doctors at the peak of their career, but they worship a piece of stone. And they even have idols in their surgery. I've seen this. Hindu doctors, Buddhist doctors. So the people of Ad and Thamud, Allah said they were intelligent, and in spite of their intelligence, the shaitan led them astray and having them worshipping idols, wooden stones, instead of Allah. The people of Ad, they were in Yemen, and they existed 200 years before the people of Thamud. And their prophet was called Prophet Hud. Their prophet was called Prophet Hud. And he went to them to take them away from idol worshipping. But it was to no avail. They persisted and continued in their idol worshipping. Allah sent a violent wind that took them, the wind that was sent to the people of Yemen, the people of Hud, the wind took them far in the sky and dropped them down on the ground until they became squashed up like vegetables. The wind took them far in the sky, and the wind was accompanied by stones, pebbles, and then they fell to the ground and they became squashed up like food that was chewed up by animals. That was the destruction of the people of Ad. Now, why is it that a man who is intelligent, he abandons worshipping Allah and worship a piece of stone? And this is the million-dollar question. I gave you the example of a Hindu doctor who is at the peak of his career. This Hindu doctor is at the peak of his career, and in spite of his intelligence, he worships a piece of wood or a piece of stone instead of Allah. The million-dollar question is, why would a man who is so intelligent, a doctor, a scientist, an engineer, an accountant, why is he worshipping a piece of stone and not Allah? That's the $1,000,000 question. The answer to the question is he wants to escape Hakimiyya. A piece of wood and a piece of stone cannot tell you what to eat, what to drink, what to wear, and who you're allowed to get married to. A piece of stone cannot enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. A piece of stone cannot tell you what to eat, what to drink, what to wear, and how to trade, how to buy and sell, how to bank your money. Can you take riba or no riba? Who you're allowed to marry to. A piece of stone cannot tell you these things. So a person chooses to be an atheist or a pagan because he wants to escape Allah's Hakimiyya. That is the answer to the $1,000,000 question I've just asked you. It's all about escaping Allah's Hakimiyya. They don't want to hear and obey. Sami'na wa atana. We hear and we obey. They don't want that. They want to worship their evil and corrupted desires. And Allah told you about these people in Surah 45, verse 23. After Allah, Allah spoke about these people who worship their evil and corrupted desires in Surah 45, verse 23. Allah said, have you not seen he who worships instead of Allah his evil and corrupted desires? Then Allah Ta'ala said, وَأَضَلَّهُ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ. Allah kept knowledge away from him. وَخَتَمَ عَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِ وَقَلْبِهِ وَجَعَلَ عَلَىٰ بَصَرِهِ غِشَاوَةً فَمَنْ يَهْدِهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ اللَّهِ أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Allah kept him away from knowledge and let him wander astray and seal his hearing and his heart and put a covering over his eyesight. Who then will guide him after Allah has done this to him? Will you not then remember? So the real blind man is not the man who is blind in his eyes. The real blind man is a man who is blind in his heart. And that's the plight of many blind people. The real blind man is a man who is blind in his heart, not the man who is blind in his eyes. Because blind people took Shahada in the time of the Prophet. There's a surah, Abasa wa Tawalla and Ja'ahul A'ma. He frowned and turned away because the blind man came to him. This surah is talking about the blind man, Abdullah ibn Maktoum. He was blind, but he embraced Islam. But the men who could see, Utbah, Shayba, Umayyah, and Abu Jahl, they had eyes to see, but they didn't embrace Islam. They died as kuffar, and they are now in the hellfire to abide forever. Because they were blind in their hearts. Abdullah ibn Maktoum, he was only blind in his eyes. The real blind man is not the man who is blind in his eyes. The real blind man is the man who is blind in his heart. Because if your heart is sealed, kufr, shirk, and hypocrisy will never come out. Islam, Iman, and Ihsan will never enter your heart. And that is the real blind man. And your state is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic if you are blind in your heart, because you will never embrace the Hujjah. If you are blind in your heart, you can't embrace the Hujjah. You will say to us, I'm sorry, the ayah isn't clear. The ayah isn't clear. I'm sorry, the hadith isn't clear. Can you find me another ayah? This one isn't clear. That's how the hypocrites speak. Can you find me another ayah? Because this ayah is not clear. Even though Allah Ta'ala said the Quran is mubin. That's how the hypocrites speak. The people of Thamud, they lived in northern Saudi Arabia. And their prophet was Saleh. And they challenged him to produce a miracle, bring a she camel out of this rock, and they pointed to the rock. And the she camel came out, and the she camel was heavily pregnant. This she camel was a miracle from Allah, and the she camel was huge. Before Prophet Saleh made a dua to Allah for the she camel to come out of the rock, he did something. He said to them, say, Wallahi, you'll believe if the camel comes out of the rock. He took an oath from them. Say, Wallahi, you will believe if the camel comes out of the rock in front of you. And they said, Wallahi, we'll believe. And these people knew the word Allah because they were Arabs. These tribes, the people of Ad and Thamud, they were Arabs. One in Yemen and one in northern Saudi Arabia. They said, Wallahi, we'll believe. And then Prophet Salih prayed, and the rock split open, and the camel came out in front of them. And another clue to tell you that they were Arab tribes is that a camel came out of the rock. Camel is quintessential to the Arabian Peninsula. The animal, the camel, is quintessential to the Arabian Peninsula. You don't have camels in Europe. It's quintessential to the Arabian Peninsula and some parts of Africa. Did they believe? Well, some believed. Some of the people believed. And some, they broke their wallahi, they went back on their wallahi, and they refused to believe. So a miracle is no guarantee that it will make every person believe. Because when the kuffar challenged the Prophet Muhammad about the moon splitting, he said, Ishhadu, he pointed to the moon and said, bear witness, and the moon split. Surah 54. Did Quraysh believe? They did not. They said Muhammad worked black magic on our eyes, the moon didn't really split. So whenever a person wants to be a kafir, he will always find a million excuses why he should remain as a kafir. The people of Saleh complain that the she camel is drinking too much water, and that the she camel is too big, and it frightens their animals away from the well. The arrangement is that the she camel will drink one day, and the following day the other animals will drink. And they complain they don't like the arrangement, and the she camel is too big, it's frightening their animals, and it's drinking too much water. This she camel of Saleh was a miracle. It could give milk to all the people of the township. So if the she camel was in New York, it could provide milk for everybody in New York. If it was in Chicago, it could provide milk for everybody in Chicago. If it was in New Delhi, India, it could provide milk for everybody in the city. That was the miracle of the she camel. They plotted to kill the she camel, and the news reached Prophet Saleh that they were plotting to kill the she camel. So Prophet Saleh told them, Naqat Allah, this is the Naqat Allah, the she camel of Allah. Don't harm the she camel of Allah. If you bring harm to it, you'll be destroyed by a natural disaster. So they were hesitant to kill the she camel when Saleh warned them. Then a woman who had 3 daughters, very beautiful daughters, said, anybody who killed the camel, the trick of women. Men become weak at their knees when they see women. And the Prophet said the biggest fitna left behind is the fitna of women. So fear Allah and fear women. Fear women. So they ambushed the camel when the camel came to drink and killed it. Prophet Saleh said, you have 3 days by which to live. And they were also plotting to kill Prophet Saleh. Not only kill the camel, they were plotting to kill Saleh. Now is the truth. Surah 6, 123. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا فِي كُلِّ قَرْيَةٍ أَكَابِرَ مُجْرِمِيهَا لِيَمْكُرُوا فِيهَا. There is not a single township except that we put criminals, Surah 6, 123, to plot and plan against the truth. But they only plot and plan against themselves. Prophet Saleh said to them, after 3 days, you will be killed because you killed the she camel of Allah. And Allah spoke about this incident in Surah 91, Surah Shams. فَقَالَهُمْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ نَاقَةَ اللَّهِ وَسُقْيَاهَا فَكَذَّبُوا فَأَقَرُوهَا فَدَمْدَمَ عَلَيْهِمْ رَبُّهُمْ بِذَنبِهِمْ فَصَوَّاهَا وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا. Surah 91. The Messenger of Allah Saleh said to them, This is a she camel of Allah, don't harm it. But they strangled it, they killed it. So we rained down upon them fire and brimstone. We rained down upon them Sijil, stones from over the heavens, and destroyed them. And we destroyed them as a result of their sins. Then they denied him and they killed it. So their Lord destroyed them because of their sin. So natural disaster is because of our sins. This ayah tells you natural disasters are a direct result of our sins. Allah Ta'ala said, ayah 39, and we destroyed Qarun. We destroyed Qarun. Now who was Qarun? Qarun lived in the time of Prophet Moses. Do you remember in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, a rich man lived, his name was Abu Lahab. And Allah said, Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab. And Abu Lahab was the man who opposed the Prophet, the uncle of the Prophet. And he opposed the Prophet and turned people away from believing in the Prophet and caused many people to die as kuffar. Abu Lahab was rich, and his wealth beguiled him, deceived him in thinking that he doesn't need Islam because he has money, he's rich. Now, the Abu Lahab who lived in the time of Moses was Qarun. He was like the Abu Lahab of that time, that era. Qarun, cousin of Musa. He was from the family of Musa, the cousin of Musa. Abu Lahab was the uncle of the Prophet. Do you see the similarity? Do you follow? Qarun was a cousin of Moses, and he was a bitter enemy of Moses. The greatest enemy of Moses was Qarun, his own cousin. Abu Lahab was the uncle of the Prophet. So great was his enmity in opposing the Prophet, there's a surah about him. Surah Lahab, Surah Masad. Surah 111, Surah Masad. It's a surah about Abu Lahab. Qarun was so rich that it took 60 mules. It took what? 60 mules to carry the keys to his treasures. And he used to show off with his wealth. He used to walk on the streets with his servants behind him and his horses, riding on his chariot. And his clothing was fanciful clothing. He didn't wear ordinary clothing. His clothing was very flashy. His horses were flashy. And his servants were behind him. And he used to parade through the streets to show off on his countrymen with his wealth. And the people say, look at Qarun. We wish we could be like Qarun. And men in the time of Bani Israel, the life of this world is temporary. The life of the hereafter is permanent. The Muttaqun, the righteous men of the township, said to Qarun, be humble and remember the poor, share your wealth. Share your wealth with the poor. He said, no, 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 no. I became rich because I am very, very intelligent. Why I became rich? Because I am intelligent. Why these people are poor? Because they are fools. So I'm not going to share my wealth with them. That was his attitude. And he practiced conspicuous consumption. Conspicuous consumption means you acquire wealth to show off and to make the poor feel bad. So you already have a car, a Mercedes Benz. It is only 3 years old. It doesn't break down. It's a reliable car. But you went and bought a Ferrari car. You bought a Ferrari car and you put a sound system in the Ferrari car which is very, very loud. Attention to yourself to show off, and this is called conspicuous consumption. When you do marketing in school, they'll tell you that this is a type of consumption, conspicuous consumption. When you do marketing in school, they'll tell you about window shopping. People like to do window shopping. Window shopping means you go to the marketplace looking at the goods in the stores, even though you don't have any money to buy the goods. People use window shopping to stress and ask, what is the price of this? What's the price of that? And they don't have a penny to buy anything. Not a red cent, but they're asking, what's the price of this? Wasting the time of the shop assistant. Wasting time. Pretending they have money, and they're only wasting time. So when you do marketing, they'll tell you about the window shoppers, and they'll tell you about conspicuous consumption. So what is conspicuous consumption? To acquire goods to show off, to make the poor feel bad. Qarun, that's what he used to do. He used to walk, not drive, but with his mules, his horses, his servants, and his fanciful clothing. He would parade through the township with fanciful clothing, very expensive horses and chariots, with his servants behind him, to make poor people feel bad. When he was told to share his wealth, he said, I will never. I became rich because of my intelligence. They are poor because they are fools. I'm not going to share my wealth. When you have wealth, you will never enjoy the wealth until you share it. Now, why do you think people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, what's his name? Warren Buffett? They give away millions of dollars. Rich people in the USA who are kuffar, they take millions and give it away in Africa. People like Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft. Do you know why they give it away, the money? Because they realize that they have 50 billion, he has 90. Even if you live for 1,000 years, you can't use up that wealth. That's what they realize. When they go to bed at night, they think about their bank account, and they said to themselves when they were in their bed sleeping at night, before they went to bed, they were contemplating while their head was on the pillow, I have 50 billion, 60 billion, 70 billion, 80 billion. If I live for 1,000 years, I can't use up all that wealth. And when I watch TV, I see people in Africa, kids, with their bellies big, and they have flies in their eyes and in their mouth. They have flies in their eyes and flies in their mouth. And I have all this wealth, and I can use my wealth to save the lives of people. So why should I be stingy and mean, tight-fisted? I'm going to die and leave the wealth. I can't take it with me in my grave. Did King Fahd take his wealth in his grave? They buried King Fahd in 2 pieces of cloth, not even in a coffin. When they buried King Fahd, they didn't even bury him in a coffin. Those 2 pieces of cloth, like the ihram you wore on Hajj, the ihram that you wear on Hajj. And they didn't even mark his grave, unmarked grave. He went to his grave as a pauper in 2 pieces of cloth. Yet he had 30 billion in Swiss bank. So these men, they said to themselves, I can't take the money with me to the grave. And there are people who are starving. When I watch TV, I see African kids with flies in their mouth and flies in their eyes. You know why the flies swarm them? Because the flies know that they're going to die soon. Why the flies they only pick on the African kids? Because the flies are not stupid. The flies know they're going to die soon. And when you see these footage, these films coming out of Africa, sometimes you see the vulture, the bird that eats dead meat. The vulture is flying around in the sky because the vulture is looking down upon them, and the vulture realizes these people, they are starving, they're going to die soon. So let me call my friends and polish on ourselves to swoop on them and eat them as soon as they die. When you have wealth, it's impossible for you to enjoy your wealth until you share the wealth. This is why Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft, he gives away millions of US dollars. He gives it away because he realized we are only going to live for 70 years or 80, 90 years. The Queen Mother had the best health care. She lived for 100 years. Our lifespan is short. We are not going to live long like Prophet Noah. His dawah was for 950 years. And he died 60 years after the flood. Prophet Noah died 60 years after the flood. We won't live long like Noah. To think about it, our lifespan in our time is very, very short. And yet we build skyscrapers as if to say we are going to live forever. The tallest skyscraper is in Dubai. Because the Prophet said one of the signs of the last days is that the Arabs will become rich overnight and they will compete in building tall buildings. As soon as Dubai finished their building, the Saudis said we are going to build our building taller than their building. They can't resist. They have to compete in building the tallest buildings. Why they can't resist? Because the Prophet prophesied that they're going to do it. The Prophet Muhammad prophesied they're going to do it. So they can't resist tall buildings. They can't resist but to compete. So when you have wealth, it's impossible to enjoy your wealth until you share it with people who are starving. That's when you will enjoy your wealth. If you can use your wealth to save a starving soul, then you will enjoy your wealth. And because of that, Allah said, فَقْرَقَبَهِ. The uphill road is to free a slave. Or feed poor people on the day of famine. Yatim close to you, like your niece, your nephew. Or miskin and dha matraba, or to feed a miskin who is so poor, he has to go and eat the leftovers from McDonald's and Burger King and Kentucky, KFC. He can't buy food. He has to go and eat what people throw away in the trash can. McDonald's, Burger King, KFC. That is called a miskin. A miskin is worse than a faqir. Qarun was told to give away his money to poor people, and he refused. All he did was to use his wealth to make them feel bad. Sometimes rich people use their wealth to make you feel bad. Sometimes in a country people are starving and homeless, and then a rock star will wear chains around his neck and diamonds that cost $1 million US, $3 million US. The necklace and the chain around his neck alone is $1 million US. So he uses wealth to make poor people feel bad, to show off. And the technical word to show off with wealth is called conspicuous consumption. Qarun was exactly like that. I told you the greatest book of psychology and psychiatry and sociology is the Holy Quran. But you need the tafsir of the Quran to appreciate the Quran. He said, why is it that the people rally around Musa and not me? I have to destroy Musa. Why the people rally around Musa and not me? I have to destroy Musa. So he paid a woman a large sum of money to say she had an affair with Prophet Musa. Musa of Salah and begged Allah for help. Why he prayed to Rakah and begged Allah for help? Because if the scandal is sex, the quickest thing to destroy a man of God is a scandal to do with sex. And this scandal is called ifk. If you slander a person, people might not pay attention. But if the slander is to do with sex, then everybody pays attention. If there is a tabloid newspaper that specializes in ifk, have you ever been to a country where there's a tabloid that specializes in ifk? It tells you which movie star is having an affair, which senator is having an affair, which prime minister is having an affair, which minister is having an affair, the minister of finance, the minister of education. the Ministry of Agriculture, which minister is having an affair. Any newspaper that specializes in affairs is called a tabloid, and that slander is called ifk. The slander of Aisha was also called ifk. Allah called it ifk in the Quran. Allah said the slander of Aisha is ifk. So these tabloids, they specialize in ifk. So Qarun, the quickest way to destroy Prophet Musa is by way of an ifk. So he paid a woman a large sum of money to say Prophet Musa had an affair with her, and the news reached the ears of Prophet Musa, and he called the woman and said, who put you up to this? And she mentioned the criminal. Qarun put me up to this. And she even told Musa the amount of money she got paid to slander his name. Prophet Musa did not panic. All he did was to pray 2 rak'ah of salah and ask Allah to help him. Why he turned to Allah for help? Because under these circumstances, only Allah can help you. Faisal has 3 bastard children outside of marriage. People will believe. Because people believe bad news quicker than they believe good news. And a bad news spreads around the world 100 times before good news spreads around the world. That's how people are. People gravitate towards slander. And whenever people hear a slanderer, they encourage the slanderer. They will never say to the slanderer, ittaqillah. Anytime people hear slander, they will never say to the slanderer, ittaqillah, you are giving away your good deeds. People don't speak like that anymore. And people don't have the taqwa anymore. And people come to Paul Talk to slander people. Something you do not know. Because they can hide behind a nick to slander you. And the reason why they hide behind a nick to slander is because they don't believe in Allah nor Judgment Day. The Prophet said, a Muslim is the one in which the other Muslims are safe from his hands and his tongue. How can you use Paul Talk as a medium? How can you use Paul Talk as a medium to slander people? Because you can hide behind a dodgy nick, a fake nick. That's because you don't believe in Allah nor Judgment Day. And you're thinking, Judgment Day is far away, let me have fun now. There's no fun in slandering people. So Qarun paid the woman to slander Musa. Musa didn't panic, but he prayed to Allah and begged Allah for help. Now why did Musa beg Allah for help? Because when you're a da'i, if you don't have any character, your da'wah is going to fail. When you're a da'i, you cannot do haram. You cannot smoke weed, drink alcohol. You cannot have girlfriends, having sex with women. You cannot go to pubs and discos and casinos. When you're a da'i, you can't do anything haram. Your da'wah will fail. That's why Prophet Musa turned to Allah for help, because his character is important for the da'wah. No character, no da'wah. You can't do anything haram. If you do haram, nobody will pray salah behind you. You're finished. Allah answered the dua of Prophet Musa, and Allah said to Musa, I give you a command over the earth. So Musa told the earth to swallow him up in front of the people. And Musa told the earth to swallow up his mansion. Swallow up his mansion. When the people saw what happened to Qarun, he was swallowed up in front of their very eyes. They stopped saying, we wish we can be like Qarun. Everybody wanted to be like Qarun. They were jealous of him. They envied him for his mansion and his wealth. But when they saw that Prophet Musa made a dua against him, and the earth swallowed him up, and then the earth swallowed his mansion in front of them, they said, we don't want to be like him. Look how he ended up. He didn't believe in Allah. He didn't give away his wealth in charity. He showed off on the people. He would parade with his wealth, his chariots of horses and wealth, to make poor people feel bad. He used to call people losers. He used to brag about his intelligence and said, I became rich because of my intelligence, and those who are poor, they are poor because they are stupid, they are fools, and they are losers. That was his attitude. And when the earth swallowed him up, nobody wanted to be like Qarun anymore. They changed their tune because they saw the retribution of Allah. And the worst thing he did was to slander Prophet Musa. The Jews, they like to kill prophets and they like to slander prophets. The Rasul said, the worst man got killed by a prophet. That man shall be the worst man on Judgment Day. The man who killed a prophet or he got killed by a prophet. And the Jews, they like to kill prophets. They like to slander prophets. And they like to kill prophets. The Madkhalis, they have the same attitude. A Madkhali, they slander prophets. A Madkhali will say to you, if I work for my king, if I support his regime, I'm not doing anything wrong because Prophet Yusuf was working for a Kafir king in Egypt. They slander Prophet Yusuf. We debated a Madkhali in Paltalk, and he was from a room called Authentic Salafiyah. That's the name of his room. And we said when the Muslim leaders join the UN and uphold the UN resolution, it is an act of apostasy. Because the UN, they turn to the UN for legislation. You cannot go to the Kuffar for legislation. So it's an act of apostasy. The Madkhali said the Prophet Muhammad did the same thing. Because at the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, he obeyed Quraysh. Wallahi, he said that. So they even slandered the Prophet Muhammad. You think they only slandered Prophet Yusuf? They slandered the Prophet Muhammad. The Madkhali told us his name is Hadi 46. The Prophet Muhammad did the exact same thing because at the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, he obeyed Quraysh. So when the kings in the Muslim world join the UN, you can't criticize them because he, Muhammad, did the same thing in the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Ready and prepared to slander the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to support their dodgy aqidah. When you have these debates, you have to tape the debate. You know why? They are going to say, Wallahi, I didn't say that. They are going to say, Wallahi, I didn't say that. You can't debate these people unless you tape the debate. Because they are going to say, Wallahi, I didn't say that. For them to say Wallahi and lie is easy. So how can you debate these people without recording the debate? Impossible. They are going to say, Wallahi, I didn't say that. You made it up. You are slandering my name. So Allah Ta'ala spoke about Qarun. Now Allah Ta'ala spoke about many people in Surah Al-Ankabut. Allah Ta'ala spoke about Prophet Lut. He spoke about Abraham, the father of mankind. You know why? Because the prophets have to come from the loins of Abraham. A prophet has to come from the loins of Abraham. Ishaq and Yaqub from Abraham's loins. And Ismail was the son of Abraham. The Prophet Muhammad came from the lineage of Ismail. The last prophet and the best prophet would come from the lineage of Ishaq. But it didn't. It came from the lineage of Ismail. So the Jews became angry with Allah's choice and refused to follow Muhammad. Racism, asabiyah. They want to tell Allah who to bless. How can you tell Allah who to bless? Allah said, Wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. Baqarah 105. The Jews are carrying a vendetta against Allah. Why did you choose the last prophet and the best prophet to be from the loins of Ismail? Why didn't you choose him from Ishaq? But Allah told you in Surah Baqarah 105, Wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. Allah knows where to send his barakah. You can't tell Allah where to place his barakah. Surah Baqarah 105. Wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. Then in the surah, and he spoke about the homosexuals of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah is Palestine. And Allah spoke about Ishaq and Yaqub. Allah spoke about Musa. And Allah said about Prophet Lut that these people, what they do, sodomy, nobody before them fasted. If a man sodomizes another man, he's a kafir. And who is a kafir? The man which gay is a kafir? The gay who refuses to marry and said, this is my sexual preference, that's a kafir. If you say, I will not get married, this is my sexual preference, you're a kafir. Then Allah Ta'ala, because they cheat with the scales. Your common sense tells you that this surah came down in Mecca. You know why? It speaks about the previous prophets. That is a characteristic of a Meccan surah. It speaks about the previous prophets. Also, this surah begins with letters. Surah Al-Ankabut begins with what? Alif Lam Mim. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. Do men entertain the idea that they can go around claiming, I am a believer, I am a believer, I am a believer, without Allah testing you, without being tested? وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. We tested those who came before them. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. We tested those who came before them. So this surah, from the moment it begins with Alif Lam Mim, you know that it was revealed in Mecca. The only exception to this rule is Surah Baqarah and Al Imran. All the other surahs that begin with letters were revealed in Mecca. Then Allah speaks about the people, and their prophet was called Prophet Hud. Then Allah spoke about the people of Salih, the people of Thamud, and that is northern Saudi Arabia. And Allah said, even though they were intelligent people, still they allowed the shaitan to lead them astray and make them worship others instead of Allah. Then Allah spoke about Qarun, who became rich, and his wealth led him away from the Sirat al-Mustaqim. His wealth caused him to give up the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Some Mufassirun means those who explain the Quran. They said Qarun used to recite the Torah beautifully, with a beautiful voice, and they call him the Nur, the light. But when he became wealthy, he dumped religion. That is what I uncovered during my research of this man Qarun. Some Mufassirun said he read the Torah so beautifully, people gather around him to listen, and they call him the Nur, the light. The fitna of wealth caused him to dump religion and became an enemy of Musa, to the extent where he paid a prostitute to say Musa slept with her. And Musa didn't panic. He prayed 2 rakah of salah and help. Musa prayed and said, make the earth swallow him up in front of the people, he and his mansion. Do you know what I also uncover from my research about this man? He is under the earth, and he is sinking deeper and deeper and deeper under the earth until the. That's what my research uncovered. He is still under, and he is going deeper to go deeper until the day of judgment. This was how lethal the dua of Prophet Musa was against this murtad, this apostate. Then Allah Ta'ala said in the ayah 39, we destroyed Qarun, we destroyed the Pharaoh of Egypt. And indeed Musa came to them with clear ayahs, proofs. They were arrogant in the land, escape our punishment. Now why did Allah mention Musa and the Pharaoh, the story of Musa and the Pharaoh? Because the worst kafir to walk the face of the earth was the Pharaoh himself. He made a claim, not even Iblis had the audacity to make that claim. What claim he made? Rabbukum al-Ala. Ana Rabbukum al-Ala. I am your Lord the Most High. That was the claim of the Pharaoh. Allah said, فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى. What did it do? Surah 79, verse 23 to 24. Surah 79, verses 23 to 24. فَحَشَرَ فَنَادَى. He gathered the people of Egypt and he cried out to the people, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْعَالَى. فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْعَالَى. I am your Lord the Most High. So he made a claim, not even the shaitan made that claim. That's how evil the Pharaoh was. Now, the question is, you took Shahada, you the Pharaoh, you took Shahada. Why did you wait until you were drowning in the Red Sea to take Shahada? The Pharaoh took Shahada. And Allah threw back his Shahada in his face like a dirty rag. The question is, why did you wait until you were going to die to take your Shahada? The answer to the question is because kuffar are opportunists. That's the answer to the question. As simple as that. A kafir is an opportunist. Don't forget, Allah sent Musa with 9 signs. Because Allah said in the ayah, and indeed Musa came to them with clear signs. The 9 signs is the rod of Musa that became a snake. So the person taking notes, you can write the 9 signs of the 9 signs of Prophet Musa to the Pharaoh. The very first sign is the rod that became a huge snake and ate up the other snakes. The magicians of the Pharaoh said, we're going to become Muslims because our magic has been defeated by what Musa brought. And he said, you can't believe until I give you the permission to believe. And he cut them in 2 equal halves. He killed them. He killed them for their iman. But they died as shuhada, martyrs. That's how evil this man was. You can't believe. If you believe, I'm going to kill you. You have to be a kafir like me because I want you to keep my company in the hellfire. Who can't believe? You can't believe. The kuffar in Europe, they are doing the same thing. If you believe, they're going to dump you in prison and throw away the key. Like what they did to Babar Ahmed. So the new Egypt, the new Pharaoh is Europe and America. Many Muslims are rotting away in prison because of their belief. They had nothing against them except Muslims. They are Muslims. Allah said, وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. They had nothing against the believers except that they believe in Allah and Allah alone. Surah Buruj. Surah Buruj is Surah 83. وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. I'm sorry, Surah 85. They had nothing against these believers. Surah 85 verse 8. Surah Buruj, Surah 85 verse 8. وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. They had nothing against the believers except that they believe in Allah, the owner of all praise. The Pharaoh, he killed his magicians. So who told you you can believe in Musa? Who gave you the authority to believe? How can a person be so tyrannical? He decides what you believe? Oh. The masjids in Europe and America are called Masjid Dirar. You can't have a masjid to preach the Aqidah of Osama bin Laden, Ayman Zawahiri, Anwar Awlaki, Abu Muhammad al-Maqdisi. Can't have the Aqidah of these 4 people. I repeat their names. Osama bin Laden, Ayman Zawahiri, Anwar Awlaki, Abu Muhammad al-Maqdisi. If your masjid has the Aqidah of these 4, I'm afraid they're going to close it down. The masjid, for the masjid to be opened up in Dar Harb, it has to be Masjid Dirar. Masjid Dirar means a masjid which was built to spread kufr and shirk. No masjid can operate in Europe and America unless it is Masjid Dirar. Because the Rand Foundation said, our only hope in Islam is to turn the Muslims into goofy Sufis. Our only hope of defeating militant Islam. Militant Islam is when you call for Sharia Khilafah Jihad. Sharia Khilafah Jihad. If you preach that they call it militant Islam. If you preach democracy, like the Deobandis, they believe in democracy, then you are tolerated. The Rand Foundation said our only hope of defeating Islam is to turn the Muslims into goofy Sufis. Okay, shukran for bringing the link about the Rand Foundation. Our only hope of defeating Islam is to turn the Muslims into goofy Sufis. People like Sheikh Nazim al-Haqqani. Because when you're a Sufi, all you do is to do dhikr. Jihad is not on your agenda. Just do dhikr. Now back to our tafsir. You, the Pharaoh, why did you take your shahada when you were drowning in the Red Sea? Didn't Allah send Musa with 9 signs? Now let's go through the 9 signs. The first one is the rod of Musa that became a snake and ate up the snakes of your magicians, and your magicians believed. The second the second sign is the radiant hand of Musa, the hand that shines like a light. The sign is the year of drought. The third sign, the year of drought. The fourth sign is the crops failed. The fifth sign, human and animal pandemics. The fourth sign, the crops failed. The fifth sign, human and animal pandemics. Just a minute. I'm sorry, the fourth sign is the flood. The third, the year of drought. Let's go through the 9 signs again. I'm sorry. The first sign is the rod that became a snake and ate up the other snakes. The second is the radiant hand, the shining hand. It shines like a light. The third sign is the drought. The fourth sign is the flood. Because the drought and the failing of the crops is the same thing. The fourth is the flood. The fifth is human pandemics and animal pandemic. The sixth is the locust that took over Egypt. The seventh is the lice. The eighth is the frog. And the 9th is the blood. The river Nile became blood. I hope I'm not going too fast. I hope I'm not going too fast with these signs. Let's go back over them. First is the shining hand of Musa. The third is the year of drought. The fourth is the flood. The fifth is the human and animal pandemic. The sixth is the locust. The seventh is the lice. The eighth is the frog. Many frogs took over Egypt. Lice took over Egypt. And the 9th is the blood. The river Nile became blood. Too fast. The 4th is the flood. The 5th is the human and animal pandemic. The 6th is the locust. The 7th is the lice. The 8th is the frogs. And the 9th is the blood. So our question to you is, why didn't you embrace Islam when you saw these 9 signs? Why are you such an opportunist? Why do you wait to be on the verge of death in the Red Sea to take your shahada? A kafir will always be an opportunist. Every kafir is a hypocrite, and every hypocrite is a kafir, and every kafir is an opportunist. Didn't you see when September 11 came, they used the opportunity to take away from people their civil liberties? Didn't you see that? Bush and Blair. Bush and Blair, they used September 11 to take away from people because the kafir is a control freak. So when September 11, they grabbed the opportunity with both hands. And because the kafir is a control freak, he used September 11 as a golden opportunity to take away from you your civil liberties. And if you don't dance to his tune, he say you are unpatriotic. They use against you the Patriotic Act. That's what they do. Every kafir is a hypocrite, and every hypocrite is a kafir. And every kafir is an opportunist. Why? Because they worship their bellies and their private parts. That's why they are all opportunists. To prove to you that the Pharaoh was a hypocrite and a kafir, Allah told you in the Quran, in his heart he believed that Musa brought the truth. In the name of pride, arrogance, and haughtiness, Surah 27, verse 14. Surah 27, Surah Namal, verse 14. What did Allah say in Surah 27, verse 14? وَجَهَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُمْ ظُلْمًا وَعُلْوًا فَانْظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُفْسِدِينَ. And they denied them the signs, the 9 signs we gave. They denied all those signs. They denied the signs wrongfully, arrogantly. In their hearts, they were convinced that Prophet Musa brought the truth. Surah 27, verse 14. In their hearts, they were convinced that Musa brought the truth, but outwardly, they rejected faith in the name of pride, arrogance, and haughtiness. This ayah tells you that the Pharaoh of Egypt was a hypocrite. Because in his heart, every night when he went to bed, he admitted Musa brought the truth. But he continued to reject faith because his pride didn't allow him to say to the people of Egypt, I got it wrong. Obey Musa, I got it wrong. This kafir, rather to go to his grave as a kafir and go to the hellfire forever, than to admit to his people, I got it wrong, obey. He thought Musa was coming to pull the rug from underneath his throne. So in the love of power, he was intoxicated with power. And he thought the Prophet Musa came to take his power. Because those who interpreted the dream for him told him that the fire that came from Jerusalem to burn up your kingdom, it means a boy shall be born from the Hebrews who will destroy your kingdom. And the interpretation of the dream kept bothering him. He kept it in the back of his mind, bothering him. This ayah told you that the Pharaoh of Egypt was the worst hypocrite to walk the face of the earth, because in his heart he believed that Musa brought the truth, but outwardly he rejected faith. He pretended that he don't believe. He was an actor. I don't know who was the better actor, whether it's Eddie Murphy or Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know who is the better actor, whether it is a Pharaoh or Eddie Murphy or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who is the better actor? I don't know who is the better actor. But the Lord told you the Pharaoh was acting. He was nothing but an actor. Because in his heart he was convinced that Musa brought the truth. Outwardly he pretended like he doesn't believe, in the name of pride, arrogance, and haughtiness. This man was an actor. A munafiq is an actor. They stage things. A munafiq is an actor. They stage things. That's what the Pharaoh was. The biggest munafiq to walk earth. Every kafir is a munafiq, and every munafiq is a kafir. So Allah Ta'ala said, Harun, we destroyed the Pharaoh. We destroyed Haman, his advisor. And when Allah said we destroyed the Pharaoh, Allah meant his army as well. The Pharaoh was a Taghut, therefore his army who protected him was also Taghut. So for you to tell me Gaddafi is Taghut, but his army who fought for him and died for him, they died as Muslims, that means you are a Jahil and a Murji. Bashar al-Assad is a Taghut, but his army who is fighting for him and dying for him, they are Taghut, they are Muslims. You are a Jahil. And you don't know anything about Tawheed. Your state is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. That's what you are. A Jahil with no knowledge of Tawheed. According to Tawheed, when the leader is a Taghut like the Pharaoh, his army that protects him is also Taghut. According to Tawheed, when the leader is Taghut, the wicked scholars who pass fatwa for him to protect him is also Taghut. So all these wicked scholars are kuffar. And because of that, Ibn Taymiyyah said in volume 35, page 373, متى ترك العالم علم واتبع الحاكم في حكمه المخالف لكتاب الله وسنة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم كان هذا العالم مرتدا كافرا يستحق العقوبة في الدنيا والآخرة. Whenever a scholar leaves off his knowledge and follows a hakim that governs contrary to Quran and Sunnah, this scholar becomes a murtad or apostate and a kafir who deserves punishment in this life and the hereafter. You claim to follow Ibn Taymiyyah, well, deal with this fatwa. You the Madkhali, you claim to follow Ibn Taymiyyah, deal with this fatwa. You the Madkhali, you are an actor as well and a munafiq. deal with this fatwa. Because you brag and boast that you follow Ibn Taymiyyah. And you even said, we, the Saudis, we translated, we printed the works of Ibn Taymiyyah. We, the Saudi regime, we printed the 37 volumes of Ibn Taymiyyah Fatawa for the Ummah to benefit. Okay. You follow Ibn Taymiyyah, deal with that fatwa that I brought to you. Whenever a scholar abandons his knowledge, Quran and Sunnah, and follows a ruler that doesn't govern according to Quran and Sunnah, that scholar becomes an apostate and a disbeliever who deserves punishment in this life and the next life. I put it to you, whenever a leader becomes a Taghut, the army is also Taghut. Whenever a leader becomes a Taghut, the scholars who support his regime and pass fatwas for him, those scholars become wicked scholars and they became apostates as well. That is what is called Tawheed. Anything other than that is not Tawheed. And the hypocrisy in your heart is so strong, you make takfir on the leader, but you say the scholar who is supporting him is a believer perfect in Iman. Maybe you were not acquainted with this fatwa of Ibn Taymiyyah. Maybe you are so jahil, you have never heard about Ibn Taymiyyah, nor the fatwa of Ibn Taymiyyah, volume 35, page 373. The leader is a kafir, but the scholar who passed fatwa for him to support his regime, his tyrannical regime, that scholar is a Muslim perfect in Iman. And some of you have that Aqidah. If I should catch up with you with that Aqidah, I won't hesitate to make takfir on you. If you have that Aqidah, you can show your ugly head. The moment you show your ugly head, takfir will be made on you for supporting the Taghut and supporting the scholars who support the Taghut. So we destroyed Qarun, who tried to slander Musa with a prostitute. Allah told you the story of Qarun because history repeats itself. Today, people will slander you with a prostitute, even till today. And people will show off with wealth, even till today. And think because of wealth, they don't need Islam. That's why the story of Qarun is in the Quran. The story of the Fir'aun. People believe in their heart, but outwardly rejected faith. Then Allah spoke about Haman, because when a king is in power, his advisors, they are Taghut as well. Haman was the advisor of the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh didn't act on his own, he had an advisor, Haman. He's also Taghut and he's also in the hellfire. You can't become an advisor to a murtad king, an apostate king. And indeed, Musa came to them with clear signs. I gave you the clear signs, the 9 signs. But they were arrogant in the land, yet they could not outstrip us. They couldn't escape our punishment. They drowned like dogs in the Red Sea. Even Haman drowned along with Pharaoh. Even Haman, the advisor, drowned along with Pharaoh in the Red Sea. They could not outstrip us. They couldn't escape our retribution. So we punished each of them for his sins. Of them were some on whom we sent Hasib, a violent wind, with shower of stones, like we did to the people of Lut. Hasib, a violent wind with stones. We rained down upon them stones. We did that to the people of Lot and the people of Ad in Yemen. The Yemen is in Ad. We did that to them, the people of Hud. And some of them were overtaken with one thunderclap, and they became ashes, like the people of Thamud. Sayha wahida, one thunderclap. With the lightning, they became like ashes. They became ashes. The people of Thamud and Shu'aib, that's what they suffered. And of them were some whom we caused the earth to swallow them up, the way we caused the earth to swallow up Qarun. We caused the earth to swallow up Qarun. Some Turkish soldiers got drunk and they played football with the Holy Quran. What happened to them? The earth swallowed them up. Haven't you heard about the huge earthquake in Turkey? The soldiers were on a soldier camp. They got drunk and they started to play football with the Holy Quran. What happened? The earth was commanded by Allah to quake, a violent earthquake, and swallow them up in Turkey because they got drunk and started to play football with the Holy Quran. The biggest earthquake to ever strike Europe, in Turkey, in Izmir. The only earthquake that could be compared to that earthquake was Pompeii of Italy. And of them were some whom we caused the earth to swallow them up like Qarun. And of them were some whom we drowned as the people of Noah. We drowned the people of Noah, and we drowned the people of the Pharaoh. It was not Allah who wronged them, but they wronged themselves. It wasn't Allah who oppressed them or wronged them, they wronged themselves. When good comes, it's from Allah. When bad comes, it's your own doings. Surah Nisa, verse 79. What did Allah say in Surah 79? Surah Nisa 79. When good comes, it's from Allah. But when bad comes, it's your own doings. So Allah said, all these people that were destroyed with natural disasters, some we destroyed with a wind and stones. We rained upon them stones, Sijil. Like the people of Lot and the people of Ad in Yemen. Lot, the people of Lot, that's Palestine. Sodom and Gomorrah, Palestine. The people of Ad, Yemen. Who was their prophet? Prophet Hud. In Yemen, Prophet Hud, people of Ad. Some we destroyed with a thunderclap with lightning, like the people of Saleh, the people of Thamud, who killed the she-camel. Some the earth swallowed them up like Qarun. Some we caused to drown in the ocean like the Pharaoh. All these people who suffered Allah's punishment, Allah said, we did not wrong them. I didn't oppress them. They wronged themselves. Because when good comes, it's from Allah. But when bad comes, it's your own doings. Surah Nisa, verse 79. The likeness of those who take false deities, awliya, protectors, helpers, other than Allah, is the likeness of a spider who builds for itself a house. So when your creed is shirk, your creed is weak. Your foundation is weak. If you're building a skyscraper, you need a foundation. If not, the building will tumble down. Allah said, when your foundation is shirk, worshipping false deities, your foundation is so weak, it's like the house of the Ankabut. مثل الذين اتخذوا من دون الله أولياء كمثل الأنكبوت اتخذت بيتا وإن أوهن البيوت لبيت الأنكبوت لو كانوا يعلمون. When you are building a skyscraper, you need a foundation. If not, the building will tumble down. Allah said, you, the mushrik, your foundation is shirk, paganism. Therefore, your foundation is like the house of the Ankabut, the spider. Even a 2-year-old child can destroy your house. Your foundation is so weak, even a toddler can destroy your house. Your state is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. Because your foundation is so weak, it's like the house of the Ankabut, the spider. And even a toddler can destroy your foundation. But the foundation of the believer is firm. And because of that, Allah said in Baqarah 2:56, let there be no compulsion in religion, because truth is clear from falsehood. Let there be no compulsion in religion, because truth is clear from falsehood. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدِ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. The right path is clear from the wrong path. Whoever disbelieves in the Taghut, if you reject the Taghut and believe in Allah, then he has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that will never break, and Allah is the All-Hearer, the All-Knower. That is your foundation. What did Allah say about your foundation? لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. It cannot break, because your foundation is La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Your foundation is free from kufr, shirk, and zandaqa. Free from hypocrisy, free from heresy, free from apostasy. That's your foundation. Lan fisama laha. Baqarah 256. But the man whose foundation is shirk, his foundation is like the house of the Ankabut, the spider. And because his foundation is weak, Allah said, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقْ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. Surah 17 verse 81. وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقْ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. Truth has come and falsehood has vanished, and falsehood by nature is a vanishing thing. So if Allah is telling you that the people of Batil, their foundation is like that of the Ankabut, why are you surprised that communism is in the grave? Allah is telling you the people of Batil, the Kuffar, their foundation is Batil, therefore their foundation is like the house of the Ankabut, the spider. Why are you surprised communism is in the grave? Why are you surprised? Why are you surprised that the Coptic Empire is in the dustbin of history? The Roman Empire in Constantinople is in the dustbin of history. The city is now called Istanbul. In 1453, a 19-year-old called Muhammad al-Fatih smashed the Roman Empire into pieces. Till today, the Kuffar can't get over it. The largest church in the world, Hagia Sophia, was turned into a masjid. Who smashed it? A 19-year-old called Muhammad al-Fatih in 1453. Not even the present-day Pope of Rome can get over it. He's still licking his wounds. How can a 19-year-old smash the Roman Empire? Muhammad al-Fatih in 1453. And when he smashed it, he fulfilled one of the prophecies of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you shall smash the Roman Empire. Why are you surprised that the Persian Empire is in the dustbin of history? Also, the people who built their foundation on shirk in Persia, they worship the fire. They are Zoroastrians, or they were Zoroastrians. Why are you surprised that the Persian Empire is in the dustbin of history? Didn't Allah tell you in the Quran that when your foundation is shirk, your foundation is like the house of the Ankabut, the spider? Even a 2-year-old, a toddler, can destroy your house. Therefore, your situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic. Why are you surprised that the empire of USSR, the Russian Empire, is today in the dustbin of history? They were communists. Communists, they don't believe in Allah. They worship their evil and corrupted desires. That is shirk. Didn't Allah tell you in Surah Al-Ankabut, Surah 29, all the people whose foundation is based upon shirk, their foundation is weak, and their foundation is just like that of the spider's house, which is built on flimsy and weak foundation. The spider's web, the web of the spider, that's a weak house. And every single empire which is built upon kufr and shirk shall be confined to the dustbin of history. Even though they are killing children, like they killed the child of Anwar Awlaki with a drone. He was 16, and they lied and said he was 21. Even though they are killing children to hang on to their empire, it's going to fail, because Allah told you in the Quran, every empire which is based upon Batil shall fail. Surah Al-Ankabut, if that's your empire based upon shirk, kufr, is going to fall because it is weak. And Allah told you in Surah Araf, Surah 7, verse 34, وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٍ فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ السَّاعَةَ وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. For every civilization there is a time that we fixed for that civilization to crumble and fall and perish. When the time comes for that civilization, that empire, to crumble and fall and perish, لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ السَّاعَةَ, you can't delay it, not even for an hour. وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ, and you can't bring it forward for an hour. These are the words of Allah Ta'ala in the Holy Quran. And the empires that will crumble the quickest are those who are most oppressive. Because Allah said, وَلَا يَنَالْ أَهْدِي الظَّالِمِينَ, the tyrants cannot inherit my covenant, the covenant of leadership. وَلَا يَنَالْ أَهْدِي الظَّالِمِينَ. The tyrants can't inherit the mantle of leadership. وَلَا يَنَالْ أَهْدِي الظَّالِمِينَ. No tyrant can inherit the mantle of leadership. This mantle is only for the people who are sincere. Baqarah 124. وَلَا يَنَالْ أَهْدِي الظَّالِمِينَ. Baqarah 124. This mantle of leadership is only for those who are just. If you are a tyrant, you shall crumble and fall, because Allah Ta'ala despises and abhors every single tyrant. Verily Allah knows what things they invoke instead of Him. He is the Almighty, the All-Wise. And these similitudes we put forward for mankind, but none will understand them except those who have knowledge of Allah and His signs. So Allah said, all these stories I told you about, the people of Abraham, the people of Lut, the homosexuals in Palestine, Sodom and Gomorrah, the people of Ad, the people of Yemen, Ad is Yemen, the people of Salih in northern Saudi Arabia, who were destroyed when the camel came out of the rock and they killed the camel. The people of Shu'aib who cheat with the scales. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah who practiced highway robbing and dabbled in homosexuality. The people of Musa, Harun who paid a prostitute to slander Musa. The Pharaoh, Haman. Allah said, all these examples are brought forward to you. Only people with knowledge will take heed. Only people will learn from these signs. Only people who are God-fearing with knowledge will learn from these signs. If you don't have taqwa, you will take these stories as bedtime stories, and you will not pay attention to the signs. That's what will happen to you. Allah says to His Prophet Muhammad, Allah created the heavens and the earth with truth, and none shared Him in their creation. Verily, therein is surely a sign for those who believe. Ayah 44. Allah did not share His creation with anyone. He created the creation by Himself. And Allah will never share His rule with anyone. Allah's hakimiyya belongs to Him. I'll stop here for today and take 5 questions in regards to the tafsir you have just heard. What is more dangerous to the Muslims regarding the Tawhut, apostate tyrant ruler who has power and fear, or a wicked scholar who the people look up to and think the scholar is a holy pious figure, but he distorts the deen to please the Tawhut? Or is the army also deadly because it's the armed wing of the system of the Tawhut? Which of these is the most evil, or are all they bad as each other? It's an important question. A Tawhut is a tyrant, a tyrannical ruler who dismantles the Sharia. Tawhut also means the army. Because of Surah Nisa, verse 76, Tawhut means the army. Tawhut also means the Kafir courthouse. Therefore, you can't go to the UN for judgment because the UN is Tawhut because of Nisa 60. Allah said, the Kafir courts is Tawhut. You spoke about the apostate leader, you spoke about the wicked scholar who cement the throne of the apostate leader, and you spoke about the army. The most dangerous is the apostate, is the scholar. Because of the hadith of the Prophet, my biggest fear for the Ummah is wicked scholars, misguided scholars. I fear for you a fitna which is worse than the Dajjal, wicked scholars. Did you see a wicked scholar on YouTube in Yemen preaching to the Yemeni army to fight the Mujahideen? I sent the video to many people. Could you bring me the link? A wicked scholar in Yemen telling the soldiers to fight alongside the government against the Mujahideen. And the Kuffar said Yemen looks like it's going to be the first country to fall to Sharia law. The House of Saudi are panicking. I've sent the link to some of you. I don't know if you saved it. It shows you a wicked scholar preaching for the government. A wicked scholar, when the Tawhut is fallen, he calls the wicked scholars to come and preach for him. These wicked scholars, they preached to the soldiers and said, we have Sharia in the land, and those who are trying to topple us, they are Khawarij, dogs of Jahannam. Fight them, kill them. That's how the wicked scholars preach. They are terrorists, Khawarij, fight them, kill them. We have Sharia in the land. Anybody try to topple us are Khawarij. That's how the wicked scholars preach. The wicked scholar is worse than the leader and the army because of the hadith of the Prophet. The biggest fear for my ummah is wicked scholar. Okay, the hadith is found in Musnad Ahmad. Abu Dhar said, I was with the Prophet ﷺ one day and I heard him saying, there is something I fear for my ummah than the Dajjal. It was then that I became afraid. So I said, O Rasulullah, which thing is that? He said, Al-A'imma al-Mudillun, misguided and astray scholars. These are called the rogue scholars. A rogue scholar is a loose cannon. A rogue scholar is a loose cannon. A rogue scholar, everything which is haram, he makes it halal. A rogue scholar, everything which is haram, he makes it halal. What link is that? The link of the wicked scholar in Yemen preaching to the soldiers to fight the Mujahideen. So they pay a scholar to preach kufr. Okay, the Yemeni, you have to say what the link is. Another wicked scholar is Yusuf Qaradawi. Yusuf Qaradawi is a kafir. He passed a fatwa to join the Tawhut, to join the American army to kill Mujahideen. Yusuf Qaradawi. Because he wanted an American visa to go to America to launch his career. Another wicked scholar is Tariq Ramadan. He's another kafir. Because he believes in democracy. Tariq Ramadan. Another wicked scholar is Yasir Qadhi. He said Tony Blair is my mentor. Yasir Qadhi. What did he say? Tony Blair is my mentor. That's another wicked scholar. No sincerity whatsoever. Using Islam for fame and fortune. Their destiny is in the hellfire. We say to the wicked scholars like Yusuf Qaradawi, Yasir Qadhi, Tariq Ramadan, is there a need other than greed of which you feed? Sowing the seeds. Sowing the seeds of what? Kufr, shirk and zandaka. What do we say to them? Is there a need other than greed of which you feed? Sowing the seeds. What seed? The seed of kufr, shirk, zandaka and ridda. Ridda, apostasy. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.